What if there was a simple way to improve the quality of your photos or videos without having any special skills or training? Well, there is. By the end of this video, I'm going to give you a surefire way to improve your photography and videography composition so you can start taking great images and videos right away. Hi, I'm Jim Costa. I'm a videography, photography, and technology guru, and I'm here to make you a tech-savvy senior. Today I'm going to teach you about a photography principle known as the rule of thirds. Of course, there are no hard and fast rules for anything, and rules were meant to be broken. But if you're new to photography or videography, learning the rule of thirds may help you with the balance and overall feeling of your images and videos. Here's how it works. Camera screen is split into 9 squares of equal size. Think of it like a tic-tac-toe game on the screen of your camera. The rule of thirds states that the important compositional elements or subjects should reside along the lines or at the intersection of the lines on that grid. The rule also states that the horizon line of your photo or video should line up with the top or bottom horizontal line of the grid. The best use of this camera grid is creating balance in the everyday photos that you take. On iPhone, putting grid on your iPhone camera is done within the settings in iOS 11 and not within the camera app itself. But it's easy to turn the grid on and off with settings if you want to. Turn the grid on, go to settings, then the camera, then grid, and turn it on. You'll then see the grid on your screen when the camera app is open. For the amateur photographer, learning a few simple photography principles, such as the rule of thirds, can elevate your everyday photos to a level that's at least worthy of Instagram fame. If this is making sense to you, put tech-savvy seniors in the comments below. Now let me show you some images I took using the rule of thirds. And all the pictures I'm going to show you were mine personally. So here I have an example of a rule of thirds grid that I opened in an old version of Photoshop. Notice, just like I said, it looks like a tic-tac-toe board. But it's 2 vertical and 2 horizontal lines that divide the screen up into 9 equal squares. The idea is when you're shooting to improve your composition, you can set your subject on these imaginary lines in the picture. So here are some real-world examples of photos that I took. And this first one was in Queens in New York on the subway. And this is the image. And let me lay the rule of thirds grid over the top of it. And notice that the bench follows right across the line. The sign is lined up with the upper line. It's not perfect. The woman's not sitting in exactly the right spot, but I wanted to crop out this pole that was on the side. But as you can see, it generally follows the rule to a certain extent, and it has a very nice composition. Turn it off for you to show. In this image, this is it's either ancient Greek or ancient Roman statue in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. So I'm going to turn the grid on. Notice that the statue of the woman's right on the line. We've got this pole in the background sort of following the line. It's not exact, but her arm comes across here, see? And see the pole continues here. It's at an angle, but it follows the rough idea. And again, when you compose your images with the rule of thirds in mind, it makes all the difference in the world in how they come out. Here's another one at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And again, it's not perfect. The rule isn't set in stone, but notice the statue of Mercury is here on the line and his arm comes out. It doesn't follow the rule exactly because it's just how the image was or how the statue was. But it follows pretty close. Now here's another image from Las Vegas. And I was there earlier this year, and let me turn on the grid for you and look at this. Here you have the Eiffel Tower in Paris, Las Vegas, right on the line, and it's next door to Bally's, which the sign follows right there. So again, think about your composition. Look through the frame and see what you see, and see how you line it up, and you'll improve the quality of your images greatly. Here's another image from the Las Vegas Strip. I think this was the Cosmopolitan Hotel, if I remember correctly, but let's turn on the grid and notice this building here follows pretty close to the line, and then this building here, again, follows pretty close to the line. It doesn't quite reach it, but it's close. Again, the rule isn't written in stone, but if you keep it in mind as you're shooting, you'll improve the composition of your images. Here's the next one. This was on Maui. Let me turn the grid on and notice the trees. Again, it's not exactly lined up, it's nature, but it generally follows the rule of thirds. The bottom of the trees is close to this line. The mountain on the horizon is close to this line here. But notice the difference. It just makes a difference in your composition if you think of the rule of thirds as you're taking images. This was also in Hawaii. It might have been on Oahu or Maui, I can't remember. Let me turn on the grid and notice the palm leaves. Again, they generally follow the rule of thirds horizontally. There's nothing vertical in this image, but it gives you an idea of how to think about starting to compose your images in a nicer way. This was on Oahu. This is Waikiki, I believe. So let me turn on the grid and notice the building that I'm standing next to. And I'm standing next to these trees were out front of it, and I just looked straight up when I took it, but the building's right on the line. You know, this tree is coming from this direction, this one here is vertical, kind of lines up there with the main part of the leaves. Again, it doesn't have to be exactly, you're never going to be perfect, but this should give you an idea of ways to look at your images so you can compose them better in the future. Now this, just to show that it works on people as well, this was a green screen shoot for a television commercial that I did last year. And I was taking some images before we started recording the video, and I'll turn on the grid and notice the woman, again, she's not exactly on the lines, but her face was pretty close to it, and she's close to the line. And then I'm using this light here as a frame. Again, it's not exactly on the line, but it's close. And notice the bottom of the light is close to there. Again, it's never going to be exactly perfect, but it's always going to be close. And then this is just to show you this is what the rule of thirds grid looks like. If you found the information I provided you in this video useful, please like it, comment below, and share it. And remember to subscribe to my channel, Jim Costa Films. If you would like more information on becoming a tech-savvy senior or to see other videos and photos, you can connect online by looking for Jim Costa Films on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on the web. I have over 4,000 videos on my YouTube channel, Jim Costa Films, so feel free to check out many of my other videos. And now I have a new Facebook group. It's Video Producers and Content Creators, so look for that. Connect there to join the group for even more pro tips and tricks.